If you're looking for a perfect everyday bag that is light, durable, versatile, and hip for the summer, don't miss out on the newest addition to the Knack Bag family of products, the Knack Sling Bag.
Yes, in a season full of ugly bucket hats, bootleg t-shirts, and board shorts, the Knack Sling Bag will make you the talk of the beach. It's everything you need in a fanny pack, but improved in a million different ways. It's lightweight, endlessly expandable, and stylish as all get out. Yes, indeed, the Knack Sling Bag is the perfect companion for every adventure.
Check out the link in the description to order yours with free shipping on all orders. Thanks to our friends at Knack for sponsoring this episode. If you get a Knack Bag, don't forget to post it on social and tag us at ETB Sports. We want to see you enjoying your Knack Bag.
This is Empty the Bench with Tom Albano.
If you're going to do something in terms of, trying to come back and do a stupid money fight with somebody else who, we don't really care about, fight freaking Masvidal, who's on a 3-fight losing streak and needs one money fight.
Nick Morgeson. This is that time of the year where you spin the big wheel of fortune and you try to figure out, all right, I want this person, and then you realize it's the lottery and you only have 1 in 300 million chance to get one. And Nick Federa.
Hello, everybody. I'm Shaquille O'Neal. Would you like your nuts to look as shiny as my head?
Empty the Bench starts now.
If the medical research that you've been doing is written by a guy whose only scientific expertise is getting horses to fuck, I wouldn't exactly trust them as an actual source in terms of epidemiology.
You know who you also can't trust as sources of epidemiology?
Yeah, us. Yeah, we're not doctors.
Hey, Nick, how's that theory coming along with horses to fuck?
I mean, I haven't found one yet. I'm still looking.
I mean, I don't know. You have a weird mind when it comes to that stuff.
Welcome to episode 146 of Empty the Bench. I'm Tom Albano. That's Nick Morgeson and Nick Federa. Gentlemen, here's what I'm going to say. Actually, I'm not going to address you guys. I'm going to address the people at home. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a couple of hours ready. I hope you have all the beer in the world. I hope you have all your refreshments. I hope you use the bathroom now because strap in.
I mean, I hope you have some snacks. That might be good too. Could use some food right about now.
We're just jammed wall to wall with stuff today. So you know what? Let's just dispense with the banter. Let's just go right in.
Just be careful. You might be jamming that thumb somewhere else, not jamming other stuff.
But before we do, I completely forgot. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Knack Bags. So make sure you go to knackbags.com to get your Knack Bag, your Knack Sling Bag, your amazing, expandable, amazing. I keep saying the word amazing, but it is Knack Bag, and you could use the
link in the description.
Below the screen to get free shipping on your Knack Bag, and everybody likes that, don't they?
Well, speaking of Knack Bag, we have a lot to pack in today.
We have the trade deadline, which check out our stream from yesterday with Nick, and Johnny and Hank from Game On. They all did a whole stream on the live. They all did a whole live stream on the trade deadline stuff as it was happening. Nick Morgeson and I also did a live breaking news stream a couple of days ago when the Deshaun Watson news came down, and we will start with that, and then we will get into the trade deadline. But we also have got the Miami Dolphins story now with Stephen Ross getting suspended and the team losing its first round pick in the next draft. We got a pair of wide receivers who have gotten some pretty big extensions. We got a whole bunch of LIV Golf, interestingly enough. And it somehow connects to the former president, Donald Trump, as well.
Oh, goody.
And we also have Donovan Mitchell talks falling through, and in both the NBA and NFL tampering investigations.
You know what? Before we get started, I'm just going to get this out of the way so Nick doesn't scream at me.
Congratulations, dickweeds!
Because the sound effect actually applies to a whole bunch of stories here. Let's start with the big one. So really the big one should be the trade deadline, but of course we can't have nice things in this world. Deshaun Watson has... Here's what I'm going to say. The long-awaited ruling has come down. However, the saga is not over. The Browns quarterback has been officially suspended for 6 games. by Sue L. Robinson, who was the agreed upon arbitrator per the CBA agreement that was agreed to a couple of years ago by the NFL and the NFL Players Association. But the NFL has the right to appeal, and who knows, by the time this show has aired, perhaps the NFL will have exercised their right already to appeal.
Well, let's be clear. Both sides can appeal this.
Both sides can appeal, but the NFLPA, number one, the NFLPA, should be not too upset with this because it's a 6-game suspension. It's not a full season. But they did kind of tip their cap a little bit. It wasn't going to be when on Sunday night you saw that tweet go out that said, hey, we're going to support whatever Sue Robinson rules. We call on the NFL to do the same. They did previously state if he had gone the full year that the NFLPA and Watson teams together were going to sue the National Football League.
Well,
and technically, if you saw our stream on Monday, that's still very much on the table.
Well, yeah. And Nick, they pulled a U where they basically fired a warning shot that really was no warning.
I would say, well, seeing as how the two of you did go live with your thoughts on Monday about this, I wasn't able to make it, but I can finally make my feelings known about this. And you know what my feelings are?
What?
Do you really want to know what my feelings are?
Yeah.
Do you really?
I think I know.
Wait, Tom. I think this calls for a certain special since this is his own thoughts.
Oh, you want? Is there a doctor in the house?
Well, you see, you have to understand something about this. This is just an absolute disgrace. You know what? Dr. Phil can sit in the corner for a second.
Oh, I wasn't even saying that. I wasn't even saying that. I was saying make him the center of attention since these are his thoughts.
You mean?
Ladies and gentlemen, look, we all knew, everybody that was tracking this case from start to finish, A to Z, first to last, we all knew that this was not going to be an outcome that was favorable to A, the truth, B, the women involved in this case, even though 4 of them settled, or anything resembling justice, because that term really seems as foreign to the NFL and the various hangers-on as I don't know. You could start speaking to them in Latin, and they'd have just as much of an idea about what the hell you're talking about. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's completely incongruous. It's completely incongruous that this is what they've come up with after the mountains, reams of evidence that they've produced, saying that Deshaun Watson did these things, did them on purpose, and did because it was not violent, quote unquote, even though they actually don't give a standard definition. The league doesn't actually give a standard definition of what sexual violence actually means, even though it does have a textbook definition. And I just, I was expecting to be disappointed, but holy fuck.
Wait, you're actually disappointed? You're actually disappointed?
Tom, you muted.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
Okay, thank you. I think because at a minimum, people were expecting, at the very minimum, like if we were going to go the low, we were expecting maybe half the season, like 8 to 10 games.
I was expecting 10. That's what I was expecting.
And I think if people, and I think if it got to double digit, like to the 10, 12, maybe even maybe the 9, I think certain people would have said, fine, leave it be, because this thing has dragged on since the first quarter of 2021.
Yeah, but at the same time, who gives a fuck what Sue L. Robinson thinks as an opinion for a suspension?
Well, technically they do, because they're the judge, they're the arbitrator that was appointed in this case.
Right, but at the same time, they could have picked someone that understands NFL rule.
Okay, but you know what the problem is? They had to set this up in the first place because the NFLPA argued it in the last CBA negotiation that Goodell has too much power, and Goodell can't be trusted with some decisions like these.
But wait a second. In the 2020 CBA, which most people are ignoring, and I laugh at this, and you and I laughed at this on the Deshaun stream that we did, who has the power on the appeal?
Goodell or his designated appointee.
Which basically... which we would basically say is Goodell, because the designee is not going to do shit.
Okay, no, well, the Goodell would do
basically Goodell with a hand puppet.
Right. It's like you mentioned with Vince McMahon whispering, and it's Goodell whispering in somebody else's ear. So, but you know what the problem with that is? So here's the whole thing, because I've been thinking about it since we did that stream. It is a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Damned if you don't appeal because it's a light suspension, lighter than some people might have thought. Damned if you do, because if you do this, then number one, then obviously the system has already failed at that point if you're going to use the appeal already. And number two, the NFLPA can accuse you of not negotiating that CBA in good faith, which is actually a bit of a downer, because remember all the talks that the MLB and the NBA had about dragging out to try and get them back quick, and it just dragged on, and everybody was so impressed with the NFL and the NFLPA being able to, well, that appraisal goes out the window.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
And because they're not negotiating good faith, and you try to up it up to even 12 games, if not a full year, you open yourself up to that lawsuit that the NFLPA had already threatened.
And I think it is, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me like Sue Robinson's decision was really based upon, she gave him 6 games because that's what precedent was set in the NFL.
Well,
okay,
go ahead, Tom.
Okay,
is that, do you think that's what it
was? In a way, basically, here's the whole thing. I'm going to go on this rant already. She was talking about how he was trying to change the culture in too dramatic of a manner because a precedent has said stuff like this, guys, I mean, how many times did we say it with the Ray Rice stuff, which led to something like this, actually, Nick, it goes to when I was talking about that you lose rant. You even said it yourself that unknowingly, even if the intention wasn't at the time, because Deshaun wasn't near the NFL at the time, it sort of set precedent in a way that the NFL takes some matters, like especially ones involving women, very lightly.
Well, that's the problem. The problem is
the NFL kind of they dug their own grave in this kind of
no. I wouldn't even say that. I would say that the Calvin Ridley situation is the situation that set the precedent.
Well, the only problem with that is, and
Calvin Ridley wasn't accused of sexual assault, though.
But he got a year.
Time out. Because technically we're arguing with 3 different policies: a gambling policy, a PED policy, and a personal conduct policy.
But we know what means more to the NFL. If you take money out of their pockets, they can't abide by that.
Unfortunately, and I'm actually going to, even though I think this suspension is light, I think with Robinson, her hands were kind of tied a little bit when the criminal charges didn't come down at the earlier this year.
Yeah, but at the same time, the way this whole situation was handled, and I was reading, and by the way, the women in the media really got annoyed. If you saw, a lot of the big names in media were wondering 6-game suspension for allegedly dealing with 66 women.
That goes to my next point, is that, guys, we said the NFL kind of also screwed itself over. It screwed itself over when Sue Robinson questioned, what's this thing here that says owners have to be held to a higher standard? And the NFL just went, ignore that. They shot themselves in the foot.
I mean, I'm going to say it again. And of course, when I said it last time, it broke Nick completely. But my point is, when you have an owner that's getting craft services under the table again, and you're not going to give him the suspension, how are you can't give Deshaun the suspension.
And I'll go to what I said on Monday. How about the fact that Dan Snyder is testifying in front of Congress? Vince McMahon is being investigated by the feds for the second time in 30 years, and he just lost his wrestling promotion.
Well,
for the second, you just let me go back and look at the sentence you just left your mouth. For the second time in 30 years, and now he steps aside.
Here's
the problem, okay?
About 15 years too late.
But I'm actually hang on, because I'm actually not done with my rant, because we're talking about Sue Robinson, how basically trying to change the culture, but doing it so in too quick of a motion. I know that does sound stupid, But
it sounds like a technicality, is what it sounds like.
well, and yes, it kind of is. But I'm going to dispute that in that, guys, I think the culture wasn't going to change anyways.
But who asked her?
Yeah,
Time out. No. You guys shut up. I'm not done. I'm not done. Because guess what? Dan Snyder should not be owning a football team at this point. Robert Kraft very arguably should not be owning a football team at this point for dealing with sex trafficking.
Okay, but you're talking about the owners club, though.
No. But that's my point. The culture is still there.
But wait a minute.
Whether it is player or owner, it's the same.
If you suspend Deshaun for a year, it's still there.
No, and I'm actually helping your argument with what I was about to say.
Sorry, but I needed to get that off my chest.
Who asked Sue L. Robinson to change the culture of the NFL? That's not the job she was there to be doing.
Yeah, that's not what she was intending to do. And it seems like the only excuse she didn't bring out a heavier sentence is because he didn't they didn't do it through quote unquote official
but no,
do it by the book.
No,
they didn't do it through official channels.
First of all, but
it comes off.
Wait. So the whole thing was not made on a legal ruling, like Tom said. Agreed that technically he didn't get charges, so you can't judge him on a legal precedent. But at the same time, personal conduct policy, like
that means nothing. It means nothing. It means nothing if the Browns paid $200-something million to keep you.
Well,
again,
you know what I want to see? I want to see Alvin Kamara's suspension when it comes down soon.
It's going to be 6 games.
Well, no. Actually, I have to correct myself because a news story came in just the other day that basically his hearing got postponed again for a 4th time into September. So now we're talking regular season. There's a chance now he won't be suspended until either late in the season or not until 2023. But my point was going to that. If he gets more than 6 games, like I know what he did was bad. I know what he got arrested. I know he does deserve to get suspended. But if he gets more than 6 games, now you're being ridiculous.
Again, this is where precedent comes up behind you and bonks you in the head with something heavy.
Yeah, but guys, I'm going to say it again.
Comes to screw you over again.
Well, wait a second, guys. It has to do with one thing as well. His contract.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Well, Roger Goodell. Is this what you were referring to? What I referred to on Monday, Nick? That Roger Goodell in 2 years is up for commissioner.
Yes, and that's the problem here. First of all, excuse me. I don't think
he's not going to rock the boat.
He's not going to rock the boat, but at the same time, I don't think Roger's going to have a job in 2 years.
Really?
I disagree. I believe that he is going to brown nose so fast. He's going to brown nose so fast you would.
That's what we're saying, Nick.
I think he went on a Coke binge in the Hershey factory.
No, whoa. Wow. I'm going to remember that for next week. Anyway.
Oh, God.
But basically what I was going to say about Roger, you're agreeing with what Tom and I are saying. He's going to do anything to keep that job, even if that means sucking off one of the owner's dicks in the process.
And you just get yourself a ticket to the intro.
I think you have to now.
Congratulations, cowboy.
I'll go one better.
Congratulations, dickweeds.
So I was trying to watch, all the immediate aftermath on shows like First Take and Good Morning Football. And
God.
The other day. No, but Stephen A. actually had an interesting argument saying that the NFL was trying to act like law enforcement by having this set up and basically trying to be the law when they are not the law.
I agree with you. And actually, the NFL and Roger Goodell try to be law. And then when they try to be law, they're like, oh, wait, that's not my job. Sorry, I'm not supposed to be doing that.
Or in the case of like a Ray Rice situation, we kind of fucked up. And the NFLPA goes, no. You made a ruling. That's it.
No, my favorite is 2 games. Oh, my God. Oh, sorry. Everyone got mad. 10 games. You can't do that.
But ultimately, what does this prove, gentlemen? Ultimately, this proves that they're not interested in accountability. Ultimately, it proves that they really don't care.
Where have you been?
They don't care about sexual assault if it's somebody important to them.
No, Nick, time out. I think honestly they're doing, and I kind of agree with it because this was mentioned on First Take. I think even maybe Sarah Spain kind of hinted at this, one of the women who's been really spoken at, that basically the NFL is using Sue Robinson as a way to say, oh, don't blame us.
Don't blame us.
When in
She's
fact,
the one with the decision.
right, when in fact the only reason we have this is because of precedent, as I've been repeating, where you fucked up.
And by the way,
You hired, by the way.
And you know what the best part is? Like you mentioned, Nick Morganson, they can appeal this and it goes to Goodell anyway. So really, she is a recommendation. She's not the law.
she's not the law. She's, what is it, judge, jury, and executioner? She's not
Right.
any of them.
She's not Kennesaw Mountain Landis.
No, it's no, I'll do you one better. It's like Scooby-Doo. We think it's Sue Robinson, but then she takes out it's Roger Goodell.
Roger Goodell.
That was good. My point is, we all knew that just because Sue L. Robinson made a ruling, both sides are going to appeal. And Tom said this last week. No side is going to be happy with the ruling of this. One side was going to be upset.
Well, let's do you one better. You know, I was all for, you know, like I told you guys before, you know, I feel really bad for the women, but the NFL has been kind of shooting itself in its own case. But then, and you remember this from Monday, Nick Morganson, a report came out that Deshaun Watson's representatives are upset about this and feel he should have gotten nothing.
Really?
Of course, even though the Browns went ahead and said that he felt remorse over what had happened.
Okay, Nick, that's sorry, but remorse. Meanwhile, we have footage coming out of Browns camp that day where people, including his own teammates, are cheering.
Because they're a bunch of dickwades. That's why.
Play the clip.
What?
No, I don't have the clip. I'm saying the clip was.
No. Play the clip of me saying. Yeah.
Dickweeds.
Yeah, you're right. And my point is, if your teammates are getting behind you for doing a heinous act, I'm not even going to call it a crime because it's not a crime. It's an act because it's not 100% proven what he did. But that's not one time that you're in solidarity with your teammates. I'm sorry. That's not right.
I'm sorry, but you know what? We can't expect any kind of accountability because they're allergic to it. They're allergic.
The whole league is allergic to all this stuff. Okay? They don't care. And the reason they don't care is because the person in charge doesn't care.
Well, but the fun doesn't stop there because we also talking about
What?
about some more disciplinary fuckery.
Well, we're not there yet.
Not yet.
We're not there yet. Oh, okay.
Not yet. But I think, you know, like I think Nick Morganson and I had shared a lot of these similar thoughts on Monday, and it's just I'm saying it. This is not the end. This is just the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Hell no, this isn't over.
You would think, you know, and actually it was confirmed that basically this whole delay was Sue Robinson going, are you sure you don't want to settle? Are you sure? Because I think Sue Robinson kind of knew when there were no criminal charges and she found that thing where the NFL said to ignore. First of all, if you're the NFL, why are you telling a former federal judge something in a written document that you are supposed to follow to ignore it? I think Sue Robinson knew she was screwed either way.
And you know what pisses me off too? What do they have? Like a 16 or 17 page document with all these weird quotes in it. Like, oh, he's experiencing remorse and he didn't do what he did. You're incriminating yourself.
So at this point, I feel like Sue Robinson knew either way she wasn't going to have a good hand in this. And
no, do you know what it is though? It has to do with the CBA. That's why she's there.
Correct. And you know what else she's there? Because she's being used, like I said, by the NFL as a shield.
I was waiting for that. Yeah.
And there it is. And there is the metaphor.
Shield.
Wait a minute.
Shield.
Wait a minute. Can I say it again? NFL, no fucks lost.
God.
So it's not the end because you would think the NFL is going to appeal. I think it's pretty hypocritical that Roger Goodell can be the last say. And the NFLPA is going to the NFLPA is going to sue and bring this to federal court. And you know what the problem is? That one of the Around the Horn people, I think it was Sarah herself. Actually, no. I think it was one of the Good Morning Football people, pointed out. The NFL has a good history in the federal court. You usually do win. Think about Deflategate. They held up Brady's 4 game suspension.
And what about Gruden? Didn't they win that one too?
I don't know if there was anything that came out of that one, but I guess that's a win for the NFL then, if nothing came out of it.
Well, there was a threat, and they basically held on to all the emails that he written.
The NFL has success, so I assume they are going to appeal. I assume they're going to appeal and make it at full season. Maybe they sue. Like at this point, like I kind of hinted at, but why can't we just call it 12 games and just leave it there?
Because that's not going to happen. Deshaun's side came out and said, we deserve 0.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, but Deshaun thinks he did nothing wrong at all. And that's the problem here. If the NFL, excuse me, which Roger Goodell is going to say, we've been fighting for a year-long suspension. Okay? And if that happens, you said it yourself last week, there's going to be lawsuits up the ass for weeks, months, and years. This could take years.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's fucked in every way you looked at.
No, I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is.
We're going to be using that sound effect a lot, aren't we?
I would make an XFL joke, but the XFL is going to be a developmental league. So, actually, you know what? I'm going to advocate for the XLF, the Extreme League of Football.
Extreme League of Football.
All right. Actually, so, we normally shouldn't really talk about on the field stuff, especially when it comes to a case like this, because you got a feel for these women. But Benjamin Albright, before the decision came down, like actually late last week, so days before it,
this story dropped out of nowhere, like out of the sky.
It's one of those imagine if history kind of revision scenarios. So apparently Deshaun was not the first choice by the Browns. Apparently the Browns were targeting Russell Wilson, and Wilson went and told them, no, screw you, I'm not doing it. And eventually he got traded to the Broncos.
God, revision is history here. If that happened,
if Russell went to Cleveland instead.
Well, Josh Allen would be in another uniform.
Okay, so let me go to that part. Part of why Wilson might have feel a little about it is because the Seahawks actually did try to trade him reportedly in that 2018 draft where Baker Mayfield got chosen number 1. The Seahawks wanted to give the then Cleveland Browns, who were then 1-31 in their previous 2 seasons, they wanted to give Russell to them, and they get the number 1 pick, which they would have selected Josh Allen with. Now, Josh Allen actually on draft day itself, if you guys remember, had fallen on draft boards because of some racy,
some Twitter problems,
questionable Twitter problems. Yes.
Damn it, Nick! Watch what you tweet.
Watch what you tweet.
But credit to the Bills.
But I remember it was bad.
But credit to the Bills, that allowed them to trade up, swoop in. Rest is history.
It's an interesting kind of multiverse, theory where there's an alternate universe somewhere where Russ Wilson is the
savior of the Cleveland Browns.
Is he sucking with the Browns in that universe, though? I don't know.
Well, you know what, guys? You know what this story tells me? Browns gonna Browns.
Well, it's just revisionist history, as I said, and leave it to the Browns to try to make something halfway decent, and it still doesn't happen.
But here's my thing. If you're the Browns, I got to think about this one, because if you have the number 1 overall pick, and you're thinking of taking Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold, or if you're not looking at the quarterback position, maybe Saquon, and you get the opportunity to have Russell Wilson, don't you think that's like a once in a lifetime opportunity to get a Russell Wilson who you don't think wouldn't have ever been ever leave Seattle until this season?
Well, yeah, obviously he was a prime quarterback, still is. He's still good. I mean, I would say he's the top of the crop, but he's still a star quarterback.
He's still a good quarterback, and that's good enough.
First of all, no one is going to the Browns. The only reason Deshaun Watson ended up in a Browns uniform is because Deshaun was looking to say hasta la vista to Texas.
Houston.
Plus they backed up a Brinks truck full of money.
Yeah, well, first of all, they overpaid him. No one else was going to give him that money.
But you know what?
And that's what's fucked too, is he's still gonna get paid because it's all bonus money. He only is 2022 salary is $1 million.
I've said this multiple times, one on the stream and one on last week's show. Because everyone keeps coming out on social media and say, well, it's not because he was trying to save the money. Yes, it was. Stop lying. Tell the media to stop lying.
He was saving it for a rainy day. That's a problem.
But like a bunch of media people who are verified on Twitter, who are a bunch of garbage individuals who keep lying and saying that it was all business and they had this all planned. When did Deshaun become a Brown? When the incident was going on?
Exactly.
The Browns knew what they were getting into. They knew.
And the agent knew. The agent knew. Said, I'm going to make $1 million salary, and I'll put $45 million in bonus. Gee, because the NFL has rules that you can't touch the bonus.
But Roger Umbrella just decides to float down from on high and just protect Deshaun Watson's pretty little head.
Well, it's not protecting Deshaun. It's protecting his league.
Shield.
And protecting the shield. The shield. And it's not Captain America's shield.
Even though Deshaun Watson dragged your league for the ringer for the last year and a half with this.
And by the way, people don't realize when you sign a fully guaranteed contract, most people don't know this as fans, the owners have to put at least half the contract away in escrow. That's part of a guaranteed contract. So the Browns are kind of fucked too.
Escrow in this case is defined as when you put money, kind of like sticking money in a closet somewhere to be able to access it at some later point in time.
Well, it's part of the bylaws of the NFL when you sign a guaranteed contract because the owners have to guarantee the amount of money that they're putting away, or else they could just say, I'm offering you a $500 million guaranteed contract. We're not giving you anything.
And I'm not trying to say anything about Stu Robinson, but I think it is a little interesting that Deshaun only has to miss one divisional game because the first 6 weeks of the Browns schedule are pretty weak. And the only divisional
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh in like week 3 or 4. And then once he comes back week 7, oh, hey, playing the Ravens and Baltimore. Week 8, guys, they get on Halloween night, Monday Night Football against the Bengals in Cleveland.
So everything's just turning up. Everything's just coming up Browns for them.
I mean, and the other effed up thing is that, and most people don't know this either, because he didn't get a year suspension, he can come back halfway through the suspension and start being in the facility.
He can still start being in the facility now. He
after 3 games.
No. What I was going to say was because he doesn't have a full year, he's allowed to be with them during preseason.
During preseason, but once the season starts, he can technically come back after.
But if he had gone the full year, he would have been out of the picture completely.
And I think he would have had to file for reinstatement if he was out for a year. But this whole thing is messed up, okay? And it's leading to a bunch of revisionist history, which we're talking about here. I mean, damn it! Fuck you, Deshaun Watson.
All right. Let's see.
Let's talk about the other big thing that came down yesterday. It kind of snuck its way between the deadline and the Deshaun Watson stuff. Stephen Ross has been suspended for 6 games. He has to stay away from the team for 6 games, his Miami Dolphins. His team has been fined about $1.5 million. His team also loses their first-round pick in the upcoming draft and loses the 3rd rounder, I believe, in 2024. So, if you remember the Stephen Ross situation, if you remember the whole lawsuit being filed by Brian Flores for discrimination and the allegation of, hey, we're going to pay you $100,000 for every game you lose because we want to really lose. But that's not what the punishment is for. The punishment is for the other matter on the docket, which is that those little discussions they were having. Remember those rumors about Tom Brady possibly coming to Miami?
Well, part of the ownership group and being the quarterback.
And Sean Payton being a head coach instead of going to broadcasting. Yeah. Apparently, they were all when Brady was under contract with Tampa and Sean Payton was
retired, but technically still
under contract of some sort. So
still under some kind of contract.
Saints. He was still under the Saints contract because he walked away.
Right. So, guys, it's our favorite word in the whole wide world. Tampering!
Congratulations, dickweeds! How can I ever live with tampering?
So, on one hand, I want to say what a statement you're making by taking away the first round pick. On the other hand, you only gave 6 games and none of it was for the Flores shit because he was only your excuse was he was only joking.
It was just a practical joke. No. You didn't notice that I had a clown nose on when I was trying to pay him $100,000 to lose intentionally? Don't you get it? Waka waka.
You didn't notice like I had a magician's hat and I was pulling a rabbit out of it, but it was really fake. But my point is, before I get into my point,
don't you get it? Honk honk.
Because this whole thing is a circus. Now I'm gonna make my joke again. The Hard as a Rock Cafe is open for business because now we're paying $1.5 million, which, by the way, and I use this example for Mark Cuban all the time. Let's just pull out dollar bills out of his wallet, and that's considered a $1.5 million fine. And taking picks away, do you really think he cares?
No.
A billionaire that collects conflicts of interest, like people collect baseball cards. I'm surprised he doesn't wipe his ass with the amount of $1.5 million.
Yeah, I know, but it's funny. It's like first round pick next year gone. Okay, good. 1.5 million. Okay, 6 games and none of it's for the bigger issue at hand.
By the way, we're setting a precedent again. 6 games. 6 games.
Wait, I have a proposal. I would like to propose that we change Roger Goodell's nickname to Roger 6 Games instead of 2 games.
I like it. I think that works.
Now Roger 6 Games, Goodell.
I was going to go one step further. You said, Nick, that he was wiping his ass with dollar bills. He probably picked up a gold bar, wiped his ass, and then put it back down and said, you know what? I'm just going to make more money off this gold bar. It's investment.
No, he probably uses a gold bar as a loofah because how else are you going to get those wrinkly bits clean?
Oh!
Wait, we're gonna invent a new play exclusive to the National Football League, a trademark play called the Sixception.
Oh God, no! But
quarterback drops back and the owner is suspended for 6 games. He disappears into thin air.
I was going to say, call it Triple D. Dance, Dolphins, dance.
Oh, please. The Hard Rock Hotel would be the Hard Rock hypocrisy.
No, let's call the play the Hard as a Rock Hotel.
Oh, God.
No, let's change Hard Rock Stadium's name to that.
It's fine with me. But the way I look at this from the football standpoint is, you know what?
Steven, like an Elvis song, Hypocrite Hotel.
Right. It's hard to look at this from a football standpoint because the NFL is more of an entertainment brand and not about football anymore. So, you know what? And they were trying to get Tom Brady into ownership because they thought, oh, we can use Tom Brady. The way Fox Sports is basically sucking off on Tom Brady at this point.
So, I mean, they're chomping at the bit for him.
$300 million over 10 years or whatever he's getting, $375 million. I lost track.
But guys, this brings me to the point that I was making before that I wanted to make and that I needed to meet you guys because I needed to get it off my chest. Even if Deshaun got the full year, the owner's club is still the owner's club. The boys are still the boys. And until you change that, until you do something like a Dan Snyder throwing Dan Snyder out, guess what? That culture that everyone's, that Sue Robinson was saying was being changed too fast and people coming out to, guess what? That culture's still there. That culture hasn't gone away, regardless of what happens with Deshaun.
You know what? The owners are basically saying
RELAX.
Oh, you shut the fuck up, too. No one wants to hear from you, little piggy goes to market.
Well, the owners are acting like Aaron Rodgers. They're taking the RELAX approach to this because the owners don't get the same punishment as the players. Well, do you agree, Nick?
Yes, and it's ridiculous that it's come to this.
But Sue Robinson also pointed that out. You look at that document, it says the owners have to be held to a higher standard.
Sue Robinson is a figurehead, okay? It's basically someone who has power but can't really do anything.
But again, it's like I said those couple weeks ago. Congratulations, NFL. You lose.
Congratulations, dickweeds.
It's like the Amanda show with what was it? Judge Trudy. Knock knock. Who's there? You lose.
No, my favorite was I'm not even gonna get into it. We could spend 90s TV shows all day. But my point is this was never gonna end well.
No. Remind me at the end of this show to say, show dismissed, bring in the dancing lobsters.
Oh, God, I haven't heard that in a long time.
So let's talk about some actual football stuff now. Guys, let's talk about money. DK Metcalf has agreed to a 3-year, $72 million extension. $58.2 million guaranteed, plus a $30 million signing bonus, the highest bonus ever given to a wide receiver in NFL history.
Money!
So, congratulations, DK Metcalf. You are locked in to have passes to you from Drew Lock this season.
I was just about to wait. Is quarterback Drew Lock?
Wait a minute. It only took 3 years for him to finally get the contract he was valued at.
Definitely.
I mean, I don't get this. I mean, the NFL has this weird notion it goes through where they'll pay wide receivers and they'll pay running backs. It's like a rotation.
Except when it comes to the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks, it's always king of the hill. Okay, now you're the highest. Now you're the highest. Now you're the highest paid quarterback.
Just wait. We're going to see like $1 billion quarterback.
Yeah, you're it.
Remember when Matt Ryan was the highest paid quarterback for a brief time?
Oh, those halcyon days.
I mean, now, what is it? Matt Stafford is finally the highest paid quarterback again?
I think so.
Actually, he got really lucky. He's had $230, $140 million plus
and
contract.
He's got a Super Bowl ring with it now, too.
Well, at least he's not the quarterback that we remember from the Lions that was completely abysmal. That's Jason Goff.
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff.
And Jared Goff has now sworn vengeance against you and
no,
Matt.
No. I got one better. He's hiding under a pseudonym of Jason Goff, so he can't be found.
No, Jason Golf.
Golf. No. Golf. But that wasn't the only wide receiver to get paid. Also, you know what this tells me, by the way, before I transition there? That tells me if what I fear could happen about the Seahawks potentially blowing it up, so that way, you know, they can get a quarterback that's not Drew Lock.
They blew it up already. They blew it up already by trading Russell Wilson.
But you know who would be next then by trade deadline? That tells me Lockett's next. Lockett's
or Metcalf, if they're not playing well.
But
you know contracts are not fully guaranteed in the NFL?
Fair.
And they could cut him if they really wanted to.
But they just paid him. You know, is this going to be another case of we didn't sign him just to trade him like Odell?
Pretty much. Yeah. Anyone is
pretty much.
Anyone in the NFL is tradable. Okay, because contracts can be cut. The NFL, with the most dangerous sport out of all 4 major professional sports, most dangerous sport, but the most money can be taken away.
That's true too.
Who would have thought? It's ironic, but that's how it worked out.
So, the other wide receiver, Deebo Samuel. 49ers agree. After all this time, all this speculation, maybe he gets traded, the holdouts, the two arguing, he's going to get a 3-year, $71.55 million extension, $58.1 million guaranteed.
I mean, it's about damn time. Now, they were concerned about his legs because technically he's like a two-way wide receiver.
Yeah, wide receiver running back.
Now, that probably made him more valuable.
Guys, kind of like a Cordarrelle Patterson.
In a sense. Now, I think the 49ers were worried because they have a quarterback situation they're dealing with right now.
Well,
but
Trey Lance looks like he's going to be the quarterback, and something's going to happen with Jimmy G. Either he's going to get cut or somebody's going to... Actually, for those games, Deshaun gets suspended. Do you think the Browns go get Jimmy G now instead of having Jacoby Brissett as quarterback?
Hell no. Hell no. No quarterbacks are going to want to go there.
It's the logical move, but since when do we think that the Browns are actually going to make the logical move here?
Just imagine, maybe, you know who else would make sense, even though it's in division, so it'll never happen? You would think maybe the Seahawks wouldn't want Drew Lock starting at quarterback?
Yes, but again,
I know it's in division, so it's not going to happen.
That division is a joke. Let's just put it that way.
that division is more and more like, I mean, I think the 49ers still have it, but I think the 49ers will just be in the vying for, a wild card spot. That's the Rams division.
The 49ers are like in between. They have a Jimmy G who could throw the football. They have Trey Lance who can run the football. They're like in between.
And I mean, we got Kyler Murray in Arizona, but
we'll get to him. We'll get to him.
I don't know if they're gonna, with DeAndre Hopkins suspended and your number one is Marquise Brown. I don't know if you're going to be able to compete with the Rams for the division.
No, the Rams are the obvious favorite, and they're going to be for the next couple of years in that division.
Okay, let's end football, by the way. Speaking of Kyler Murray, so remember that homework clause we talked about? Yeah, that got removed. The Cardinals kind of implied it was being too much of a distraction.
Wait, really? A distraction?
So I'd like to take this time and say thanks, Cardinals. Thanks for taking away my only ammo against those students. Right?
Yes, yeah. I guess you know what they just hate teachers.
And actually, Kyler Murray came out. I think he was kind of mad at the media and such for saying.
Wouldn't you be mad at the media if someone was questioning your work ethic?
Yes, but actually, it kind of goes to kind of what we were applying with what the NFL actually might argue with the NFLPA about this whole thing that Goodell gets it. Actually, kind of goes to the same thing of what you signed. You would think maybe they would have known what they had signed, and that Goodell gets out of the power, or in this case that there was that homework clause.
I didn't even know that was a thing, to be quite honest. That you could make that clause. Now, I read that they were fighting that clause, but somehow they still signed the contract. Gee, let me think about it. $46 million a year.
I would hope you're watching 4 hours of game film a week.
Well, they said that he watches more tape than people realized. But the confusing thing to me, he's a running quarterback, so maybe he doesn't watch as much video. Maybe he's so focused on running the football as a quarterback. I don't know.
Ultimately, I think that it was a distraction, but ultimately it's like, Kyler, your agent agreed to it. If you had a problem with it, you should have said so then.
Excuse me, wait a minute. It's not just the agent. The player has to sign the contract too.
Yeah, you have to sign the contract. I mean, if you didn't like it, you should have said something. What were they going to do?
I know they say the agent does all the reading. Have you ever heard of you need to read the fine print before you sign it?
I mean, seriously, if I had a $200 million, if I had a $200 million contract I had to sign, and it was 200 pages, but on the 199th page, I had to sell my soul to the devil, I would have said, you know what? I think I've got second thoughts.
Kyler didn't know, though. Kyler was too busy playing Call of Duty to have to read all that thing. He wanted to get back to his Fortnite matchup.
Oh, right. Isn't he on a video game team or something? Like, I read that he plays. They say so. I was reading something that they said a lot of the NFL players have an issue with like being tired at the meetings and the prep during the week because they play video games for hours upon hours upon hours.
Hey, it's either that or crypto.
God, don't even get me started. I don't want to hear crypto right now. Ugh. My point is, this homework clause was a farce to begin with. And the Cardinals finally said, you know what? We got our media attention from it. Now we're going to remove it. That's what I think it was. I think they were looking for attention.
Oh, God.
All right, football talk over. Let's go to baseball, guys. Trade deadline. Everything trade deadline. Everything trade deadline here.
So yesterday we went into this in great detail for 2 straight hours. Which by the way, my vocal cords were about to say, "We quit, boss." But so
all right, let's start with the big one, guys. Let's start with the obvious one, which actually should have been top story had it not been for the Deshaun stuff. Guan Soto is officially traded to the San Diego Padres. It's Guan Soto and Josh Bell from the Nationals to the Padres in exchange for a bunch of top prospects.
Now, I need to say one thing. We'll do it in order, but that really wasn't the headline of the trade, if we're going to be quite fair. Here.
Okay, so also we had Eric Hosmer, who basically was Eric Hosmer basically had a 10-team no trade clause. One that's actually renewable so like basically Washington wasn't on his no trade list last year, but apparently players, I didn't even know this. You're allowed to update that list every year. So one of those teams, we don't have his 2022 list. The media was himself trying to find, but one of those teams in 21 got subbed out for Washington.
Right.
And
he's allowed to have up to 10 teams. That's his no trade clause.
And he subbed one of to 2021 teams out for Washington. So he had to get approval of the trade too. And he did not approve. So that actually caused a little conflict of, okay, is it just going to go on without him? Is the trade just completely going to fall apart?
Well, we're sitting there behind the curtain here. Yesterday, we were sitting behind the curtain looking at Twitter. Oh, the deal came out. And by the way, if you weren't looking on Twitter for the MLB trade deadline, you were under a rock. Anyway, we see the deal come in, and we're like, oh, okay, deal's done. I mean, the Padres emptied the farm system, but at the same time, now we get a report 2 minutes later, Eric Hosmer has veto power and could destroy and torpedo the deal.
He didn't end up doing that because...
So instead, like first the report was, okay, he vetoed it, but then, okay, the trade is still going to go through anyway with all those prospects. But then came a report towards like 4 p.m. that basically, as a substitute, Luke Voigt is being sent over.
So...
Luke Voigt is not on Eric Hosmer's Christmas card list, and vice versa. I guarantee you that.
Yes, I would imagine that he's going to have multiple bags of flaming dog shit on his front lawn come Monday morning. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, for the trade itself, I mean, I've made my thoughts clear about it, that it clearly shifts the balance of power in Major League Baseball, and that now the Padres have a target on their backs. Now you gotta go. Now you gotta go win.
Well, I was gonna say, if you want my opinion,
yes, I do.
So I constantly said Braves, Dodgers, NLCS, Braves, Dodgers, NLCS. I think that changes. I think the Padres now are your National League favorite.
Well, I'm not willing to say that at all yet until they prove that they can win. They have not won anything. They've never won, to be quite honest.
Fair, but Guan, Soto, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, and actually they also filled up a few holes like around the team, and they get like Brandon Drury, who's quietly having an amazing season. Guys, this is going to be a powerhouse team. This is video game style team. Maybe I shouldn't go that far, but
it is. You're absolutely right. Look at their 3-4-5. Machado.
This is rookie mode on the show.
I mean,
Machado,
look at the guys.
Tatis. Actually, Bell's having a decent season. Bell, and I'd take him as a first baseman over Hosmer and Voigt any day.
And somehow Bell got randomly thrown into this deal too.
And it just makes it even better for San Diego.
I mean, I can appreciate the balls on AJ Preller to pull this off, because again, this is probably the biggest trade return I think I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Right, but I will admit it is a little risk. A lot of your top prospects, like Mackenzie Gore and James Wood, you sent them over.
Oh, they depleted the farm system completely.
They still have some good prospects, but like Nick Videra said, even if it's not either this year or even if you got it next year, one of these next 2 years, you got to win. You got to be the world.
And think about how far the Nats farm just took a jump. They were 24th, I think, yesterday morning.
They probably went from 24th to the top 5.
They're fifth now, I believe.
Okay.
No, I was gonna say, and actually, if we're going to talk prospects and we're going to talk competitive guys, do you remember the Padres were in the discussion for Max Scherzer last year and lost out to the Dodgers?
Yeah, that was the deal.
No, but I was saying, imagine if the Padres had won Max Scherzer and sent some of those prospects away.
They wouldn't have made the deal.
Right. Instead, this year the Dodgers end up being one of the big losers of this trade deadline.
Now,
having gotten only a slightly used Joey Gallo from the Yankees.
Just to put another target on the Padres, before the COVID-shortened 2020 season, when the Padres faked their way into the playoffs, do you know what year, without looking, and I kind of looked this up, but I kind of knew it too. Do you know what year they made the playoffs before 2020?
1998.
No.
Well, that was their last World Series.
That was their last World Series appearance. I'm talking about the last time they made the playoffs.
Early 2000s, though?
2006.
Wow.
14 years before that. And I don't count 2020 because I don't count 2020 for shit. To be quite honest, I don't think the Dodgers should even be credited with the World Series, to be quite honest. But we're talking about 14 years since they made a legitimate playoff run. Okay? They better fucking win with the 3, 4, 5 they're going to have in this lineup. You have two guys that are $300 million. And by the way, I'm just going to put it out on the table because it's going to be there's no way they're re-signing him.
Who?
Soto, when he's up
they
for free
have
agency.
control. Okay, I was going to say
they have control for 2 years, but you can't have those three guys on the same team at the same time.
Correct.
They can't afford it. Their owners are go broke.
Correct. Machado, I assume, would be up first in terms of contract.
Well, Machado just signed, so
his contract has it kicked in yet?
I can look it up while we're talking, but he just recently signed.
Okay, he's under lock. Fernando Tatis, I assume he's under lock.
He just recently signed too.
True. So actually, no, they will have those guys for years.
And that's the problem. You're not signing Soto to $500 million on top of those guys.
So within the next, either this season, next season, or the season. So either 22, 23, or 24, we got to see something that says World Series champion Padres.
You have to. It would be a massive bust. And I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about the organization. It would be a massive bust if they didn't win.
So what was the fate of Eric Hosmer anyways? He goes to Boston.
But you know what? If I had to pick a choice between Boston and Washington, D.C.,
I'd go to Boston. Yeah.
You're going to Boston.
And honestly, Boston, like you guys kind of implied on that stream, they're kind of in a situation where, I mean, they're at 500 approximately, but they still are 15-ish games behind the Yankees.
Well, they're closer to the wild card at this point.
Right. So every AL East team basically is 500 or above. So it's a wild thing. And if you're Boston, let's be honest, Eric Hosmer, he's struggled. He's older, but he's still an improvement over Bobby Dahlback, who is just kind of falling off the cliff.
Just can't seem to catch a blade. Didn't see a baseball he didn't want to not catch.
And you know what?
That whole team, to be fair, that whole team can't see baseballs, it seems like.
By the way,
I'll tell you, I actually didn't get a chance to mention this on the stream, but the fact that the Astros got Christian Vasquez from the Red Sox. And Trey Mancini, that's not nothing.
Well, before we go there, I was just looking at some of the numbers on the Padres payroll. The Padres payroll at the beginning of opening day 2022 was $211 million.
What is it now?
Well, it doesn't say now. It just has the beginning of the year. That's like Yankee territory almost.
Soto's not making a shit ton of money yet.
God,
see, I have power now.
Damn it! Get the crap out of me. But
oh God, you know what? But the reason I said that is because now the target is on their back. It's also on the Yankees' back too, because we didn't get a chance to talk about them getting.
Well,
I don't agree with that.
Here's the thing: we're talking about targets. We're talking about must wins. The only problem with talking about the Padres and its must win, because I said it's only two. They've got 2.5 years. For the Yankees, I don't know if you can allow this strong first half start where you were 64 wins by the All-Star break to go to waste.
They need to make the World Series this year.
Here's what I say.
I agree.
Here's what I say, and I even told a Mets fan friend this. The Mets and then now the Mets and the Padres, they can have the next two World Series this year. Yankees have to have it.
They have to take it.
Right.
There is no better time to do it than now. You
especially
must play the Dragon.
Especially with now that Soto is locked up in San Diego and you're unsure about Judge. Right field right now, and Judge is a big question mark in New York. So
let me just clarify.
It has to be a now. You have to do it now.
Let me just clarify one thing. You make it sound like, Nick, that they can choose whenever they win the World Series by saying there's no other good time now. You still got to play the games and win.
Right.
Yeah, but exactly.
No,
which means I know you can win the game, so fucking win it.
Right. No, I think what I'm trying to argue, Nick, and maybe Nick Videra would agree on this, since the Padres and Mets have a couple of star players locked up over the next couple of seasons, fine. But with the Yankees, with Judge, we don't know what's going on with him. With the pitching as hot as it was, and now the couple of improvements that they've made to kind of fix things, and the fact that, and I'm going to add this because I didn't add this when we were having that whole argument about Judge, the fact that the Red Sox got past the Astros and got in 18, the Nationals held on. The Nationals outlasted the cheating ways of the Astros to win the World Series. The Dodgers, even though you don't count it because of that 2020 shortened season, they got there. They got revenge for 17. The Braves held them off last year. And in pre-show meetings, Nick Morganson, you said maybe the Yankees lose a little too focus with the Astros because they're so obsessed, but you don't want to say that the Yankees with Aaron Judge on their team were the only team to not get revenge on the Astros.
No, I agree with you on that point.
That's why I'm saying, even if, okay, and I'll even relent, even if you don't win the World Series, you have to have a pennant this year. You have to make the World Series. The way you started this year, you have to make 2 rounds at least. You have to. It would look so bad. You're the first team to 70 wins this year. And it would look even worse if that team that defeated you was, once again, the Houston Astros.
And I think this is a psyche issue. Like, they need to look at themselves in the mirror and say, we need to be more focused. I know I keep saying that, and you guys look at me different ways when I say it, but it's true. They need to focus. They need to not make mental errors, which they don't seem to make against other teams.
It's just, look, now is the time, guys. Now is the time. You have to do it.
All right, but you make it sound like it's easy just because of the way they're playing in the regular season.
So let's talk about it.
Because I know they can. Because I know they're capable.
So let's talk about some of the Yankee moves. So Frankie Montes, the big one, Frankie Montes has been dealt to the Yankees in exchange for 4 prospects, including 3 prospects, including Ken Waldichuk and JP Sears, who was kind of one of their 26, 27 men. I feel bad about losing Waldichuk and Sears, but I think they were kind of screwed. Actually, do I have the thing? No, I got to make a little banner for this. But they were a little screwed. And actually, I kind of, as bad as I feel about losing both of those guys are going to get opportunities to start in Oakland. Okay, you can't tell me if you're Oakland, you're not going to start like a JP Sears when you have a $41 million payroll full of crap.
Okay, but I'm going to give you one word that I used on the stream for a couple of the moves, and that word is what? Control. Control is that word.
It's the name of the game.
Yankees' whole trade deadline thing was about control. But the reason I said the pause was because I had to make a banner, because I forgot to make a banner, because this is something we need to talk about. We got to talk about Louise Castillo first. Castillo going to the freaking Mariners for the top 4 prospects that the Mariners had.
Now, we had some sources down on the ground for when the Yankees were talking to the Reds about possibly making a deal for Castillo. Don't get me wrong. Would I have liked Castillo? I think I like Montes better. But my point is,
you're not. But if you're the Yankees, I was mad at first too, but then hearing from that Reds fan on Twitter, here you guys to explain. You are not going to give up Anthony Volpe when there's no guarantee Luis Castillo is even going to be on your team next season because he's out of contract.
I told you the only person I would give up Volpe for at this point was Soto. That's the only guy I would have given up Volpe for. Now,
or Ohtani, who was
well, we'll talk about Ohtani in a second. We'll go there in a second.
We'll go there in a second. But Montes is club controlled at least through next year. So you got your starter who you really needed.
Correct. And I'm going to take a second to just talk about this one. If you're the Mariners, what the hell are you doing?
You overpaid.
But last year you were blowing it up, getting all these prospects because you said you were pretty much done. Now you're getting Luis Castillo because you might be in the wild card hunt. Let me ask you: is Luis Castillo getting you past the Astros? Is Luis Castillo getting you past the Yankees?
I'll go one more. How about, is he getting you past free agency?
Is he getting? Oh no, I was going to go. Is he getting you past the Twins? If the right Twins show up, no.
Yeah, he's just talking about the. Yeah, if the Twins show up and they're not playing the Yankees, they're dangerous.
No. But my point is, are you getting him past free agency?
Are you keeping him past free agency?
So
it's a rental. It's a rental.
Right. So there's a chance you lost your big farm system. Well, the bigs of your farm system, and you could lose him at the end of the year.
That's my point. Montes was the better option because you get him this year and you get him next year.
Yes. Plus, you have that Cubs pitcher, relief pitcher, who they have full control over.
Efros, who's under control, club control till 2028.
The reason I was bringing that up, though, was because I'm sorry, Jared DePito, he needs to be fired at the end of this. DePito, he needs to be fired. He does.
I mean, if you really want to take him, he knows how to do it because he did it once before with Cano.
Well, by the way, speaking of Cano, DFA'd again.
DFA'd again, as is Jarvis Familia.
Well, no, he got designated for assignment. Was it?
DFA.
Oh, I'm not paying attention. I'm not paying attention.
Yeah, they both did.
It's been a long couple days.
It has been a long couple, but you know what? I mean, I hate to have an old chestnut, but that's baseball, Susan.
God, so did Odubel Herrera. He got DFA'd also.
And Brett Phillips, but the Orioles managed to pick him up.
That guy seems to find a team every single time. Like, he's the new Eric Hinsky.
Oh my God, it's been so long since I've heard that name.
By the way, he won didn't he win with every team in the AL East? Like, that was his claim to fame.
He won a ring with the Yankees.
But he kept making the playoffs with each team in the AL East.
Well, wasn't Eric Hinsky a dot? No,
he was
Gagne.
He was a Blue Jay. He was a Tampa Bay Ray.
I think you're right. Anyway,
he was on the Red Sox, I think, at one point.
He was.
Let's keep with the Yankees though, because we mentioned Castillo, mentioned Montes. Let's talk about Benintendi. I don't think we got a chance to talk about that here.
Well, so we teased it, saying that he would be a good fit.
Right. So Benintendi does get dealt from the Royals to the Yankees after they lose both games to the Mets. It's kind of like you hear Cashman say, "You know what? Fuck it. It's time to do something." And 3 minor league pitchers, none of whom were top out. They were all mid-level. So that's actually pretty cool, especially when Benintendi, there's no guarantee that he's going to be, he's like Castillo. He's a free agent at the end of the year.
It was good value. It was good value for what they got.
Correct. However, he has not committed to getting the COVID back. Actually, originally it was reported he would, but he has since walked that back. So there is still a chance in September you may not have him for that what could be an important Toronto series if you collapse. Or if you and the Astros are fighting for the top seed in the AL.
Let's put it this way. The Yankees have a big enough lead where they could pretty much coast to the playoffs at this point if they really wanted to.
I mean, you have to be careful because you think back to 78 with the Red Sox. But I think it's not so far apart when it comes to you and the Astros for the number 1 seed, however.
No, I get that. But the Red Sox are basically out of it. The Blue Jays, which we said in the stream, Nick and I said it, that the Blue Jays are the biggest disappointment so far in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, we did say that, and you know what it is? These are the perils of appointing someone champions when you haven't even played a goddamn game yet.
They were projected to win 110 games.
Off-season champions, yes, but when the season begins, then you actually have to play. I don't know if you know this about baseball.
You have to play the game.
You actually have to play the games.
Yeah, you're supposed to play the game.
It's not just simulated mode, like it's in fucking Madden or something.
Or it's not MLB The Show. Remember, you would sim a whole season because you were trying to get your career mode player more stamina and statistics.
When I graded the Yankees, at the end of the stream yesterday, I said, I would give them a solid B+.
Okay, so I was going to give it the A, but should I bring up the next one?
Well, yes. Oh, okay. This is what made it an A- for me.
This had me scratching my head.
Yeah, so Jordan Montgomery, after all this talk about we need pitching help, and we do get it, but then we go and trade Jordan Montgomery to the Cardinals for Harrison Bader.
Well, did you hear the weird reason why? Apparently, according to Cashman, he's one of the best defensive center fielders, and they want to get Judge off his legs in center field.
Which he is, apparently. He is probably he can fly. But
don't you want? Isn't Aaron Judge an everyday player for you? Isn't he the cornerstone of your franchise?
Well, they're saying they want to put him in right field instead of center.
Okay, I guess, but I thought he was doing pretty good in center as a center fielder.
Did you see the home run he robbed the other week?
Right. So,
Anthony would say, "Oh, he's 7 feet." Hello, it doesn't matter what size you are. You still have to have skill to rob a home run.
So I'm gonna throw my little conspiracy theory in there that I told you guys before. So Luis Severino actually has been transferred to the 60-day DL, 60-day IL. And actually, we're talking about Montes and Bennett. For all these guys that they're adding, they have to make some room. So you'll see things like Joey Gallo going over to the Dodgers. But something like this. So it brings me to my theory that kind of like with what's going on with Severino, that maybe he's being, shipped off, never to be seen again. That I'm getting a little bad feeling that maybe something might be wrong with Giancarlo, and maybe they're trying to hide it.
Well, first of all, on the whole pitching front, why didn't they just DFA Herman?
Or not even DFA, just demote him to Scranton because he has options. I told you guys that, and you guys are like, he has options.
Yeah, we mentioned it. Yeah.
You could bring him to AAA if you needed to.
I don't understand. Montgomery was one of their strongest starters in the rotation in the first half.
To be fair, he was struggling. He was struggling a bit, but he was a solid starter.
Correct. But Harrison Bader, again, good defensive guy. I like Harrison Bader, but what's the need of an outfielder unless something's going on? But at that point, the trade deadline had been over. Also, Nick, I do agree with you on the B+ because I do have two strikes with the Yankees because I guess Cashman didn't learn about that lesson from Jackson Frazier. And once again, Miguel Andujar stays with the Yankees, and we're probably going to lose him for nothing at the end of the year.
I mean, yeah, so I basically gave them an A- because I just put aside that they were not going to trade Andujar, so I just didn't give a crap about it.
I still got to penalize it because it's history repeating itself. You had that chance in 2018, which you never know. Maybe it could have gotten you over the top against the Red Sox or against the Astros one of those years.
And Andujar's value was high, earlier on. And he was up, and we were talking to our guy who does stuff in inside sources for us. And basically, he was saying, he keeps getting passed over. He just keeps getting passed over. They keep bringing guys up in front of Andujar. I mean, and we got into an argument, debate, or discussion, whatever you want to call it, about the year Andujar versus Shohei Ohtani for Rookie of the Year again.
Right, but the point of the matter is that basically you have Florial, you have Andujar, you have LeCastro. Hey, where are you putting these guys? And we're talking about all the top prospects, and they kept Volpe, they kept Dominguez and Pedraza. Guys, you
got to trade someone.
There's not much time left before Volpe goes up to AAA, and Pedraza's already there as a shortstop. What are you doing there? You
have to trade.
I understand, right? So that's the thing. That's why I was so hamming and hawing that. And Cashman did a good job. I have to admit, Cashman did a good job, and I am happy that they had these guys. But, you got to make room somewhere. Unless, and Nick Morrison, you might shoot me for this, unless with Volpe or Pedraza, you're going to try and pull an A-Rod with them and teach one of them third base.
Oh, God. Don't mess with them.
It's not unprecedented.
And then I mentioned to you guys, maybe you trade, you do what you did with Gallo this year with Donaldson next year. Unless in that potential deal, maybe you throw IKF in as well.
Well, first of all, IKF was really a stopgap guy.
Yeah, he was only ever going to be a stopgap.
Well, IKF, the plan, according to it, was that IKF was going to move to third base once they got rid of Donaldson, and Volpe was going to be let's call it the next Derek Jeters. The hyped next Derek Jeter. But
okay.
But I'm saying Pedraza's ahead of him because he's in AAA, Volpe's in AA. What are you doing with Pedraza then?
But the problem is, we haven't learned from other experiences where they say Volpe being the next Derek Jeter. Are you kidding? You're putting all the pressure on this guy.
Right.
You are.
So that's the thing. So it's that's why I like giving it the B+, because yes, Cashman delivered. Yes, excellent job. But number one, where are you putting these guys? Number two,
you're not.
Where are you putting these guys? And number two, it brings up already questions about the offseason. What's happening with Miggy? What's happening with Judge? What's happening with what are you going? What is the projection now for Volpe and Pedraza?
Well, Miggy already made his feelings known that he doesn't want to be there anymore. So he's not. I don't think they're bringing him back.
Right. But you get my point. Like, there are still some questions with this team, and yet there is also still that pressure of you have to beat the Astros and you have to reach the World Series this year.
They have to make the World Series. It's not like, I know they say, oh, well, that's a over exaggeration. No, it's not an over exaggeration.
No, because again, like I mentioned all those weeks ago when we had those arguments and talked about Judge and stuff, everything is great right now, but is that momentum going to be there next year, or are they going to fall back to 2021?
You mean where they just miss it, basically?
Yeah, they just barely make it. Like Nick said, when you have all of the momentum in the world, you got to capitalize on it.
Yeah, but it's easier said than done sometimes.
Right. But still, no, I'm saying like that's why you have all this pressure. All right, a couple more I want to mention. We skipped over this because of all the Yankee talk, but Shohei Ohtani ends up staying with the Angels. Apparently, the Yankees were in the lead. White Sox and Blue Jays had made inquiries, but ultimately, let me be clear. Artie Moreno and company constantly flip-flop during the week. First, it was Ohtani's not hitting the market. Now it's we'll hear on anybody but Ohtani. We'll hear on anybody, including Ohtani, and then Ohtani completely off the market.
Can we just admit already that Ohtani was never for sale?
But yes, but I think you had every opportunity to blow it up.
First of all, the Yankees were never making a deal for the Angels.
No,
I'm sorry, I don't believe it.
Apparently, Cashman was making a very competitive offer for him.
Time out. It's not a matter of other teams trying to get. It's a matter of what is wrong with the Angels. Because let's be honest, they suck.
They're a train wreck. They're a train wreck.
Yes, they're a train wreck. They have all this money that they're spending, and it's getting them nowhere. If there is ever a time to have value on a guy like Shohei Ohtani, on a guy like, I know Mike Trout's contract is ridiculous, but just for a guy like Trout, like now was that time. And instead, you're just going to hold on to him because we're really just going to build around him. You have tried that, and guess what? You consistently fail. You're not far behind the A's. Like the A's are slowly catching up to you to bring you to last place in that division. And are you beating Houston? No. And even though we mentioned Seattle and Castillo, Castillo's not the full answer to them, but are you beating Seattle? I'd say no to that either. No to that too.
Seattle is way over the top of them. I look at them at this point.
So if you're the Angels, you're in no man's land at this point.
Yeah, the Angels are in the basement, I would say at this point. I think the A's eventually, with their young prospects, are going to take over. So, I mean, I'm trying to find the numbers on Shohei's contract. I'm looking on COTS.
Well, he's got two. I think it's either either next year or next year and last year, and next year and the year after he left.
So I think they're going to lose him anyway once he hits free agency because I think someone's going to make him a massive offer. And we all know Artie Moreno doesn't pay anybody. Well, let me take that back. He pays people, but he pays people for too many years long term. I mean, look at the Pujols contract. I said it on the stream. Nick, you heard me say it on the stream. He had to eat 3 years of a contract that was what, like 30 plus million left over a year?
I don't doubt that Artie Moreno cares. Because I do truly believe he does, but I don't think he knows the right thing to do. I mean, I hear a lot of Yankee fans say over the years that, Hal should sell the team. To who? Artie Moreno? I mean, I don't even want to hear the New York Yankees and Artie Moreno in the same sentence together.
God, that would scare the crap out of me.
Okay, I am one of those, like, I don't mind if Hal sells, but to Artie Moreno, what are you smoking?
Exactly. Oh, you need somebody who cares like he does. Really, he cares, but he keeps making wrong decisions.
Okay, yeah, he cares and he's spending money, but you know what? It's kind of like George.
People.
Well, I was going to say it's kind of like George in the '80s, where it's getting them nowhere.
Well,
yeah, I care about this team. So you know what? I signed the world's greatest athlete to a baseball contract. Give it up for Hulk Hogan. And not even Hulkamania Hulk Hogan. 60, 70-year-old Hulk Hogan.
He's going to come out with a walker or something. Playing baseball with a cane.
You know, brother,
No, I'll do you one better. He's going to sign Hulk Hogan to be the catcher. He's got to bend those knees where he's constantly dropping the leg for 20 years.
Oh, God. My point is, the Ohtani situation is that you're looking at a guy, two-way player, probably the best athlete in all of baseball, can pitch 7 innings or a complete game and strike out 15 batters, and he can hit 3 home runs in the same game. Okay? But at the same time, I wouldn't trade him. He's the biggest marketable guy in baseball. You would think, and Nick has said this many times, you would think having Trout and having Ohtani, you could build around those two guys and you would make it to the playoffs. Forget winning a World Series. They're not making the playoffs. We're talking about playoffs.
And ladies and gentlemen, we again, another year is wasted. Another year of prime Ohtani and Trout goes down the drain, flushed like a turd that won't go down.
I mean, they traded Noah Syndergaard away.
Also,
oh no! Do
well,
I
first
have
of all-
presses? I need to stop the presses.
First of all, when you're talking about playoffs, thank you, Jim Mora.
You're welcome.
Oh, good.
Second of all, let's talk about Noah Syndergaard. So, one of the last-minute 11th-hour moves, Noah Syndergaard traded to the Philadelphia Phillies.
Not surprised. I mean, Noah Syndergaard is basically a has-been at this point. Everyone thinks that
He's still got a lot of pop.
Here's what I'll do with Fields. Here's what I'll say. Maybe the Phillies will be in the chase for the last wild card spot, but it's not going to get them over the top.
they actually made some decent moves. They got Syndergaard. They got David Robinson from the Cubs, which kind of confused me at first. But
which screwed over the Mets in hindsight.
you know what? And we'll get to the Mets grades in a second because I was pretty harsh about the Mets. And there's a certain Mets fan on our stream that was being a little too over the top nice about it. But I don't know. This move means nothing. This is not Syndergaard with the Mets where he threw 100 plus miles an hour and the whole Thor BS. And like he'd walk around New York and he was like the most popular thing since sliced bread. But who cares? That's the best way I refer to this.
And also last one, another 11th hour one that came down. Whit Merrifield dealt to the Blue Jays. First of all, he has to get vaccinated to enter Canada. I hope that agreement's in place, and it's not like what the Yankees did with Benintendi. Otherwise, Blue Jays are going to be in a worse situation about that. Second of all, where's he playing? If I'm not mistaken, the Blue Jays have quite an all-star infield.
He's a second baseman. He's a second baseman, too.
So does that mean you're basically giving up on Bo Bichette?
Unless you're going to pull a Derek Jeter there or put him at shortstop.
I have to shrug.
What are you doing on that one?
And by the way, this was literally not even 11th hour. It was 12th hour. It was right at the deadline.
Right. Okay. And also, if you're going to use that logic about Ohtani, then if you're the Royals, wouldn't you want Whit Merrifield in your system?
Well, they've had him for a long time. They're just not going anywhere. I don't know how long he was with the Royals organization.
Let me see. Let me see his contract. Hang on. He's on a 4-year contract, but is he up at the end of this year?
That would be it.
No.
That would be sick if he was.
No, he still has a couple of more years left.
Again, there's the C word, control.
All right. So that's a lot of deadline talk. So we're actually coming on the last few segments of this By
the way, we should have warned you in advance. This was probably going to be one of our longest episodes in a long time.
Well, we said strap in. We did say strap in.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's talk about LIV Golf because actually we have quite a bit of LIV Golf to talk about. So first, on the first hand, Bubba Watson has joined LIV Golf.
Well, I'll tell you what that was.
Yes. Money.
I mean, again, every name that you hear trickle out about the LIV Golf Tour, it's all because of the money. Okay? So, and apparently they were playing on Donald Trump's course in Jersey.
Jesus Christ! And I didn't get a chance to see the USFL in person because, but I guess you know what, the grift lives on.
But this whole thing is happening, and apparently, I don't know if you saw it, but the PGA Tour came out and announced that their prize fund for next season is actually going to be bigger than the LIV Golf Tour. It's like 400.
And they were willing to pay. They were willing to pay Tiger Woods $700 to $800 million to leave PGA and come with them.
And he said, no money's on it. He said no.
Well, no, because he's trying to be a goody two shoes, which he's not.
He said, wait. I'll explain. I'm trying to do the buzzer sound effect, and I'll explain is the money one now.
My point is, Tiger Woods turned down a shitload of money, but he's already made a shitload of money.
Right. He doesn't need the LIV.
Actually, he's made more than that amount of money.
So, ladies, go ahead.
No, so then comes the whole Trump thing. So they're playing on Trump's golf courses, and Trump's supporters are starting to turn on him, saying, "Why are you going hand in hand with the organization that is Saudi funded?" And saying, and these critics are saying that, why team up with the country that basically had been behind 9/11?
Is accused of funding the 9/11 hijackers, and Trump, not to be outdone, actually.
We don't know. We don't know.
We don't really know. We'll never know who was really behind 9/11.
Well, I'm trying to stay away from politics on this podcast, but
you know what? It's just this. This is obviously the USFL just for golf.
Yeah, but
this is the Fire Festival with nicer grass.
What I would say is, though, you have to blame the golfers partially on this because they're taking the money.
Right, but it is the spirit of competition. It's finally giving the PGA.
I've been saying that for a long time when this first came out. It's all the what's that saying? It's all the process of doing business, basically. Right. Where now, if someone's going to offer you more money, you're obviously going to listen.
Right now, and on that note, for the Trump thing, I mean, I know he was a celebrity originally before he was a politician, but he is of that kind. So of course he's going to do something that. He's going to do something that does him good business, even if it is un-American.
First of all, we don't know if he took money or if he just offered his course for them to play the event.
But my point is, he was voted in because he was supposed to be this all-America, make America great, and he does something like this. I said, well, he's a businessman, and he is like some of these politicians out there where their words mean nothing because they will do something like this. Ta-da! Blindfolds off. Exact. Oh my God, guys. Oh my God. I just got an interesting email.
What?
I think I just got an email from the Saudis that they're willing to fund the XLB.
Oh God. Wait a minute. I said that last week. I said, if they offered to fund the XLB, would you take the money? I said that last week.
Well, considering this entire thing has basically just been a one giant shit post. I mean, if you...
My dream has come true.
Oh God, what is happening?
I don't know anymore.
It's after hours and hours of streaming and recording.
Oh,
just getting tired. We're not done with LIV though. So all that Charles Barkley stuff, they never officially made him an offer. He's just gonna be on NBA on TNT. So sorry, Barkley, you're gonna have to deal with Shaq still.
You know what though? The way I look at this, Charles Barkley is better off staying at TNT at this point.
I do agree that, yeah.
Now, if he had taken the money, he would have lost all his endorsements and everything that went along with it because everyone obviously is in the court of public opinion and not business. Now, Charles was talking, and Charles, believe it or not, even though he acts like a jerk off on TV and is really funny, he is still one of the smartest business people I've ever seen, believe it or not.
Well, isn't that the joke of it all, though?
No, but I'm serious. He's made some investments in people and products and he was a shark on Shark Tank, actually, at one point. I mean, anyone could be a shark on Shark Tank. I think Kevin Hart was a shark on Shark Tank also. But you know what? This is good for business for him. Stay away from the LIV Golf Tour.
All I'm going to say is, Charles, Why would they? I know you have been working on your golf swing. I know you do stuff for the match every year, but why would you leave what basically helped make you knucklehead?
You know what, though? He would have lost all of his endorsements. He wouldn't have been able to work at TNT because basically what I was hearing is if he took the LIV Golf Tour analyst, even though he's not a golfer, he would have lost his job at TNT.
And he would have just said to himself, you know what? This sport is boring, knuckleheads.
But the thing is, they were supposedly offering him 3 to 4 times more. Supposedly, they were going to offer him that. From what I understand, and he's never said it, apparently he makes close to $20 million a year at TNT.
Oh, God, all this money.
So all this money, and yet, speaking of basketball, the Knicks could not land Donovan Mitchell.
Well, it's
As
not
of right now.
Wait a minute, it's not done. I know I sound like Nick right now. I'm
It's
actually
not dead.
I'm trying to put hope into something, which is usually not my theory of things. But it's in stall out mode, is what they're calling it.
So I actually haven't read the story in full, but I'm going to take a guess. The Jazz won RJ Barrett, and the Knicks said no.
I didn't look at it completely, but I have a feeling they want Barrett.
I mean, I don't know if I still am a little shaky about this deal. So
I don't mind.
Core.
I don't mind giving up the draft picks because the Knicks never seem to have luck with the draft. RJ though, like
You know
I
what,
would
though?
rather. Nick, I would rather give up more draft picks just to get him and have RJ.
It's a tough one. I mean, you don't know what RJ Barrett's going to be. You don't know what the draft picks are going to be. You basically are up in the air with everything.
Right, but the Knicks can't even get the number 1 pick in the lottery, even when they have the best odds.
Well,
like
but wait a minute. That's not on them. That's picked out of a lottery system. They have no control over that.
Yeah, but Nick, it's the Knicks. Same old Knicks.
No, but the same old Knicks is when they do something completely stupid and they have control over it. The lottery system, they have no control over.
Look who their owner is, Nick.
I'm not.
I know.
Again,
No, but I was just using the lottery to say, see, even with whether it's the lottery or the draft itself, the Knicks don't have luck with the draft. So,
in my opinion, first of all, the lottery system is a farce and stupid. It should be based on the record. So if you have the worst record, you should be the number 1 overall pick.
Wait. But when we talk about the NFL, we say maybe
the NBA lottery system is a farce.
So you're saying that the two should flip. NFL should have the lottery, NBA should be by record.
Yes. Because in the NFL, it's a lot different because teams go in streaks. And also, you don't see a team in the NFL winning multiple back-to-back Super Bowls. It doesn't happen.
Unless you're the Patriots.
Well, right. But that was a long time ago. But the Warriors, unless you're the Warriors and you never had... Look at that for a second, okay? The Warriors, who haven't had a number 1 pick in how long now? They're winning the championship. People who have the number 1 picks, what happens? They don't win.
Not all the time.
They really don't win. The odds are low.
Wow, first of all, that's kind of rich coming from you, seeing as how your best player is trying to find the first fucking flight out of town.
Let him go. I said to let him go. But my point is, at the same time, you're under contract. I'll say this a million times again. When you're under contract, you just signed for 4 years and you want out?
God.
But the Knicks are also in shit, as are their division rival, the Philadelphia 76ers. Over tampering.
This episode is brought to you by tampering.
I didn't touch it. You can't prove I didn't touch it.
I mean, the way I look at this, so the NBA opened a tampering investigation into the 76ers. Now, I don't think, and this has to do with and I'll get to the bottom line in a second because that pissed off Nick when I told him about it. But James Harden, who was not under contract, apparently was talking to other guys. Now, I thought tampering didn't count when you technically were not signed because technically you're not with an organization. Technically.
I guess something happened along the way.
But technically tampering happens when you're on another team and you're talking to another team. So
that's what I thought.
But I'm more enamored with that the Knicks are being investigated for tampering over the Jalen Brunson situation.
that they might have exchanged figures before they were.
I had said that to you guys, though. Do you remember that Dallas hadn't met with the Knicks, and apparently the Knicks were already having a meeting?
Okay, but it goes back to what I'm saying, that unless you're going to do something major, the players are going to laugh at tampering because they want to play with who they want to play with, and the owners and teams are going to laugh because you only find them a second-round pick. And come on, LeBron's talking to everybody.
When the only penalty you can think of is do not pass go, do not collect $200, that's not much of a penalty. It's not go directly to jail.
And it's one of the negatives of, like, honestly, like we were just ranting about the owners having all the power and yada yada at the NFL. Here's where a problem lies of a players' powerful league.
You know what's funny though? In MLB, everyone talks to everybody, and there's no tampering rule.
Yeah.
You realize that, right?
Honestly, maybe we should just have no tampering rule because everybody talks to everybody. It's like that Neon Tree song. Everybody talks.
Right. But the difference is in MLB, they're more apt to take the money because it's fully guaranteed. So sometimes you don't even know who you're playing with half the time in MLB.
Oh God, this is turning into a shit sandwich.
Ew.
Well, we have one more thing we got to get into. I hate ending on sad notes. But Bill Russell has passed away at the age of 88.
And the man is, I mean, you can...
NBA legend?
NBA legend. One of the first major black superstars in an era where...
And coaches.
That was basically unheard of. 11-time NBA champion.
Out of 12.
Guys, in elimination games, 21-0.
Yeah, this guy was as 100% of a guarantee as close to as you can get.
He's the thing that champions are made of, and it's reading about, especially in the days since he's passed away, the things that he had to deal with in terms of dealing with racism from the media, from the fans, growing up in the Jim Crow South, and the fact that he was able to become a legend
and an activist.
Yeah, and an activist, but nothing came easy to him, but he still was able to not only just survive, but thrive. The fact that he was
not just thrive, be one of the greatest of all time.
He is one of the greatest basketball players of all. If there's even an argument that he may be the best.
Well, I was about to say, you could argue he's probably one of the, if not the best legend in the NBA.
Yeah, even if you want to have a debate about, who is the best and include some modern guys, include a LeBron, an MJ, a Kobe, include a Wilt, include a Larry Bird. But in terms of the best, in terms of both playing ability and as a person, and what you had to deal with and what he advocated for, it is the most fairest of all arguments to say that he is the best. And I don't know, guys. A couple of people have thrown this out. Maybe does the NBA, for being kind of the Gretzky figure, the Jackie Robinson, do they retire number 6? Would you retire number 6 across the league in his honor?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You definitely would.
I would have done it for Dr. J.
Yeah, you would have done it for Dr. J. You would have done it for Bill Russell.
You could have done it for Wilt Chamberlain.
I feel like this is a big opportunity to do it for somebody like a Russell.
For somebody who was so visible on the social justice front, especially for making your league live up to the ideals that it's always professed on paper, but not often in practice.
Well, like we were saying with Bill Russell, 11 championships out of 12 years with the Celtics. That's unheard of.
You can't argue the resume. The bona fides are there.
By the way, over 40,000 points.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that even now in the hyper scoring area, that's unheard of.
I mean, with someone like Steph Curry who's hoisting threes every game and might get to that. I don't know.
11 championships. 11.
First of all, that record's
he has more rings than he has fingers on his hands.
He can be up there with Yogi Berra if you want to.
Yeah, with Yogi Berra, because Yogi I think had 10.
10, yeah.
But,
so
again, the man's a bona fide legend, and I really would like to see maybe his number be retired, much in the same way that he was kind of basketball's Jackie Robinson, even though there was more than one superstar black player that was playing with him.
But Bill Russell, by the way, who became the first black head coach as well, became an activist for through the sport, did a lot of work. Two-time NCAA champion, by the way, 55 straight wins in college, Olympic gold medalist, I think, also. This guy, we're not talking about just career. We're talking about decorated career.
Yeah, we're talking about the Mount Olympus of professional basketball players.
This might be controversial, but I would take him over Jordan. I would take him over LeBron. I would take him over. I think he could be quite literally the best player up there with Magic.
Of his era? Yeah.
I would say all time.
You could make the argument that he's a better winner.
Yeah, you could. You know what?
You can make the argument. No, I was going to say you could make an argument. He's a bigger winner than Michael, even though Michael had the 2 three-peats because he has 11 championships.
I mean, Michael had the clutch gene as an individual player.
Correct.
Now, Bill Russell, like those teams, the Celtics teams, were unbelievable, like in every way, shape, or form. But if Bill Russell's not on that team, they don't win like that. They don't. So you could say the same thing with Michael Jordan. If Michael Jordan's not on those teams, they don't win. I mean, would the Bulls teams had a chance? Yes. You could say the same thing for Russell. If they're not on their respective teams, they're not the legends that they are.
So
no, you're right.
We need to give a salute there.
And by the way,
at the end.
That's a shame that story was at the end of this episode, considering all the other BS we had to deal with.
Right. So like the trade deadline wasn't BS, but the Sean stuff and like overshadowing kind of a major loss to the NBA, major loss to the sports world and beyond. And
also, he couldn't make the NBA Finals in June. Usually, he presents the Larry O'Brien Trophy at the end of the finals. He was so sick. Now we still don't know what he passed away with. They
88 years old. God bless him. The man's lived a life that few could dream of. It was trials and tribulations. But you know what? The name Bill Russell will go down in history. He's immortal.
And he was lucky that his wife was by his side when he passed away. Also, I mean, everything worked out in his career and what he was, even after being in the NBA.
Even with all he went through in his early life.
Yes, obviously.
Even all that he went through in his career that some people didn't accept him as a player or as a man.
Well, you could say that about.
He transcended him. I mean, he turned into a legend.
You could say in that era that a lot of players were not accepted for the way that he looked or other players looked. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that was the era back then. Like now everything is more acceptable in today's. I mean, we're still having issues. Don't get me wrong, but it's much more acceptable.
Because of him.
People like him and Magic, like everything was more acceptable now than it was back then. They couldn't step foot into certain places in their era.
And you will never, ever hear me say something about a Celtics player like that again.
That's funny.
Yeah. All right. That is going to do it for this edition of Empty the Bench. Thank you for being here for the entire, just a quarter shy of 2 hours.
Holy crap.
It's been a long couple of days for us, but we thank you for sticking with us.
I mean, this has been the longest episode we've done in a very long time, right?
Make sure to hit like, make sure to subscribe, and ring the bell so you get notifications for whenever we go live, whether it's a breaking news, whether it's a planned stream, or whether it's one of this show or Beyond the Bench or Game On or Living Life, Fruity Cereal, or my new show, The MMA Outsiders, which debuted earlier this morning. Me and Zambando giving you all the MMA talk every week, reviews and previews of cards from UFC, Bellator, and more, talking about best bets, talking about major news stories. Yes.
God, I'm tired.
Yeah. I know you are. So let's get out of here. Make sure to follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ETB Sports. Make sure to follow the network, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at ETB Network. And make sure you see our Twitter handles across the screen there. All right. So for Nick Federa and Nick Morgeson, I'm Tom Albano, and we will see you next time here on Empty the Bench. Take care, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.